Hello, children. It's Joe Smith here, your favorite storyteller, and I am so glad to come your way again today. You are welcome to today's episode. An ungodly kid today. We get to know about a very beautiful young woman who had so much favor from the Lord. Guess who? We are talking about Esther today. Yes, the famous Queen Esther. And I believe you are ready. Alright, let's get started. Esther's birth name was Hadassah, meaning Hadassah was the name given to her by her parents, and it is spelled Hadassah. Just for those of us who do not know, her father was Abihail, and she was of the tribe of Benjamin, one of the 12 tribes of Israel. They lived during the time Israel was in exile. Unfortunately for Esther, her parents died when she was very young, making her an orphan. After her parents died, she was adopted by her cousin, a man named Mordecai. Mordecai was a God-fearing man who loved Esther very much and raised her very well. Esther lived with her cousin in the land of Susa under the rule of King Xerxes. Esther was not only beautiful, but a woman of honor. Now one day, King Xerxes organized a big party for all the people in the land, which lasted for 7 good days. On the 7th day, the King Xerxes sent a command to the queen, who was called Queen Vashti, to come and display how beautiful she was before his guests. King Xerxes made this command when he had taken a lot of wine and was in its high spirits. When this message got to Queen Vashti, she refused to attend to the king's call. This made the king very angry, and after a meeting with his officials, it was finally agreed to dethrone Queen Vashti as the queen of Susa. Queen Vashti was dethroned, and so a decree was made in search of a new queen who would replace her. A search was made for beautiful young virgins, and among them was Esther, meaning Esther had kept her purity up until this time. Something positive that we should all learn as children of God. These beautiful young women were put under a beauty treatment for months. During this period, Esther won the favor of everyone who saw her because he had a very good character, and I believe you have a very good character as well. Now Esther was taken to the king, and the king was attracted to her more than to any of the other women, and she won the favor and the approval of the king. So Esther was made the queen. After a while, Mordecai, the cousin of Queen Esther, overheard 2 officials of King Xerxes planning to kill the king. Mordecai quickly went to Queen Esther and told her all that he had heard. Esther in turn also went to King Xerxes and told him what her cousin, Mordecai had come to tell her. These two bad officials of the king were arrested and killed. My lovely children, it is never advisable to plan evil against anyone. All this while, Esther had kept her identity as a Jew secret because Mordecai had told her so. Now there was a man called Haman, an official of the king, who had also plotted to kill all the Jews in the land because Mordecai was also a Jew and wouldn't kneel to him. Such a wicked man. I believe you don't want to be like this man. A decree was made to kill all the Jews in the land after Haman had convinced the king that the Jews were not obeying the laws of the king. When Mordecai heard this, he started to mourn with all the Jews. Esther heard of Mordecai's mourning and sent her attendants to find out what was troubling Mordecai and why. They returned with the entire story of Haman's plan to kill all the Jews. Upon hearing the news, Esther wanted to confront the king, but she had no power to do so, although she was the queen. It was against the law to approach the king without being summoned. The penalty for breaking this law, apart from the king's favor, was death. However, on the other hand, if she does nothing about the situation, all the Jews were going to be killed, including herself, if they get to know she's also a Jew. And so Mordecai sent a message to Esther, telling her to do something about the situation. For who knows, she might have had the position of a queen for such a time as this. Esther responded to the message from Mordecai by putting her hope in God and sent a word to Mordecai for everyone to fast and pray for 3 days. After the 3rd day of fasting and prayers, Esther gathered courage, put on her royal robes, and went to see the king. But instead of that, the king granted her favor, asking her what she wanted. Queen Esther requested to have dinner with the king and Haman the next day, and there she will make her actual petition known to him. The king granted Esther her request and did as she had asked. When they met the next day for dinner, Queen Esther told the king about Haman's evil plan to kill all the Jews. The king became very angry and instead ordered that Haman be killed. You see why you should not plan evil against someone? It ends up coming back to you. And so never should you plan evil against anyone. And so Haman was killed, and in his place as the official of the king, Mordecai was replaced. The king handed over Haman's estate to Queen Esther, and she also gave it out to Mordecai, her cousin. The city of Susa held a joyous celebration, and for the Jews, it was a time of joy, gladness, and honor. This is indeed a very beautiful story of Queen Esther. And just as Queen Esther had a very good character, feared God, and kept her purity, we are all expected as children of God to do same. We don't have to plan evil like Haman did, but we should always be loving. Well, children, this brings us to the end of today's episode, and I believe you enjoyed it. We've learned a lot from the story of Esther. Feel free to share these lessons with your siblings and friends. Help them to also live a good life and to stay away from what is not right. Till we meet again on the next episode, remain a very good child to your parents, your church, your school, and everyone. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.